Welcome back everyone, my name is Lee from Leather's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make corned beef in the slow cooker. Doesn't that look good? So today we're going to make corned beef, also known as silverside, and we're going to do it in the slow cooker today because I like how nice and hands-off it is, and I can just leave it all day and it's all good. Now if you don't have a slow cooker, you can just read the instructions on the back there. And typically it takes about an hour and a half to cook something like this on the stove, just at a light simmer. Then you can do it the exact same way. So for the ingredients today, you're going to need your corn silverside. Then I've got a teaspoon of peppercorns and some bay leaves, like 3 bay leaves. I've got some crunched up ones there, so that's why there's a few there. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We've got 1 onion that we're just going to quarter. And then some vinegar. So usually this is malt vinegar. I'm just using some apple cider vinegar because I'm out of malt vinegar. But if you only have white distilled vinegar, that's completely fine as well. And we need about 1/2 cup of that as well. So the first thing we're going to actually do is we're going to actually rinse the silverside. And that's because usually once it's been brined, all the blood and everything on the outside of it all congeals a little bit, and I just want to rinse all that off. So I'm going to go to the sink, give it a quick rinse, and then we're going to get into the slow cooker. So this is the only meat I actually do like to rinse off, just because it does have all that brine on it. So all I'm going to do is just give it a quick rinse, turn it over. We're not washing it or anything, we're just getting all that excess congealed blood and everything off, like that stuff there. And that is it. So all I'm going to do is just quarter this onion. And then into the slow cooker, we're going to put our rinsed corned beef. This recipe is very similar to the pickled pork recipe that I did as well. And it's almost used interchangeably. Not everyone's a fan of pork. I actually prefer pickled pork, but this is on sale, so that's what I grabbed. So we're going to put our whole onion in there. Then we're going to add our spices. So we've got our bay leaves. As I said, mine were pretty small, so I've got a few in there. And a teaspoon of peppercorns to flavour it. Then I've got 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We're going to sprinkle that on. And then we're going to need 1/2 cup of vinegar. So I've got apple cider vinegar here. So usually it's a malt vinegar, but I don't have that, so I'm just going to use some apple cider, which I know it's going to turn out just as good. So 1/2 cup of that. And then all we're going to do is we're going to cover this with water. So now I'm going to cook this on high for about 6 hours, and then it should be ready by dinner time. If you're going to be busy all day, you can also put this on in the morning and cook it for about 10 hours and it will come out beautifully. If you're in a bit of a rush, you can also cook this the day before. It's one of those meats that actually stand up really well in the fridge, and you can have all the trimmings and everything all ready to go. So all you do is reheat it and you get a lovely meal as well. So that's something you can do on your day off as well. Otherwise, if you don't have a slow cooker, you can also cook this on the stove. So all you want to do is put all these ingredients into a pot, bring it up to a simmer, and just reduce it to a very slow simmer. And it's going to take about an hour and a half for about a 1.5 kilo piece of meat. So I'll see you back when we get around there, and I'm going to show you how we're going to dish it up. All right, so the corned beef is in its last hour in the slow cooker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start preparing what we're going to have with it. So we're going to have some braised cabbage with it. So I have one of these Wombat cabbages. They're on special. I'd usually just get the drumhead ones, but they're actually considerably more expensive. So I'm going to do about half of this, or else I'll be eating cabbage probably for the next 2 weeks. And I will find a recipe for the rest of that. And And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice this up. This will wilt down a little bit, so it does look like a lot. So to go with this, I am going to do some bacon as well. So I think traditionally my mum used to actually just cut up some of the corned beef or pickled pork, and then she would actually just put that into the cabbage as she was cooking it. But I just like to use some bacon, so I'm just going to cut up about a rasher and a half of bacon. And then once we get closer to this corned beef being ready, we'll knock it all out. All right, so now this corned beef is now ready. What I'm going to do is, everything in this is actually going to be used. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these onions out. There's plenty of life left in these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut these up and put them in with the cabbage that I've already cut up. It doesn't need to be exact or anything like that. It's just going to add a bit of flavor into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start cooking off our cabbage, and then we're going to make our sauce for it. All right, so I've just got the frying pan here heating on high. I've got some nice chunks of butter here. I'm just going to put that in. Now I'm just going to put just a little bit of oil just to make sure that butter does not burn. So now it's melted, I've got some bacon we've previously chopped up. And that smokiness from the bacon is just going to add so much flavour into the cabbage. All right, so now I'm going to add that onion from the poaching liquid. And that's just going to add another layer of flavour to that bacon. Now I'm going to add the cabbage. This is quite a bit of cabbage, but this will break down. So now I'm going to grab a couple of ladles of that poaching liquid. And I'll just strain that just in case I get any of those peppercorns or anything like that. Now I'm just going to put a lid on this and just let that cook down. And we're just going to give it a good stir every now and then. So now since boils down enough, I've taken the lid off now and I'm going to let all that liquid now evaporate. At this time I'm going to put some salt and pepper. And now we're just going to keep cooking this until all that water has now, all that poaching liquid is now evaporated. Alright, so I've just tried this, it's all good. If you like a bit of acidity as well, you could add just a little bit of vinegar as well if you want. I think it's completely fine as it is. So now we're going to make our sauce to go with it. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to grab another saucepan. Now I've got probably about 2 tablespoons of butter here, and we're just going to let that melt down. Now that butter has melted, now we're going to add a 1/4 cup of flour, and we're just going to make a bit of a roux. So at this stage you just want to keep on moving it around on the bottom of that pan there and just toast it off. And you'll see it change colour, almost goes like a pale white. That would mean we are ready to go into the next step. Alright, so that's gone a lot pale now, so now we can add our poaching liquid. So I strained probably about 1.5 cups of the poaching liquid. And we're just going to add just a little bit at a time. it's time to change to whisk. Just want to make sure all of that gets incorporated. And then it's usually served up as is like that. I like to add a good dollop of Dijon mustard. I think it just adds just a really nice flavour to the actual sauce. But if you want, you can by all means leave that out. Pepper. A little bit of salt, considering that poaching would have been pretty salty. Alright, let's take out this corned beef and try it out. Felix hurt the meat. There we go, beautifully cooked. If it is overcooked, it will come out very stringy, but usually that's almost impossible. You have to leave it in your slow cooker all day. All right, there we go. Then we've got some of our braised cabbage. Then I've just got some steamed carrot as just a side. And a nice drizzle of that gravy. There we go. Let's try it out. All right, let's give this a go. First of all, just some of that cabbage. Just that little bit of poaching liquid and that bacon just makes cabbage just taste so much better. And then let's try the silverside with some of our sauce. I have to go in for a second bite, it's so good. And that is just cooked beautifully. That sauce, that little tang from the Dijon mustard just elevates it as well. And it's so good, and I hope you give it a go. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like if you want to see more. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.